Well, yep. One of the kids has an activity they do only once every 2 weeks. That is on this side, being like the south/north side of the river, and they're not able to do that today because of a planned convoy that is, I'll put the picture up here, a planned convoy that is meant to just gum up the works basically of the city, specifically downtown and that area where there's only one of two bridges that you can use to cross the river to get to the other side. Rebecca lives on the other side of the river, on the west side, and the activity is over here. And she got an email last night by one of the, I don't know what to call them, organizers or helpers or whatever, hosts of the activity, and said like, hey, there's this planned convoy thing, and like it's gonna be coming right like through here. Plan accordingly is what it said. I was like, how do you plan accordingly for that? I don't want to like say too much of where it is and stuff, but it's one of those things of like, once you get to that area, how are you, like, depending on the time of this convoy, you wouldn't be able to get out. Like, you just would not be able to get out. When you've got 6-year-olds, you know, that you might be trapped in traffic for hours and you can't get home, and you've got pets at home too, and it's like, there's just like a lot of potential for things to be incredibly unpleasant and perhaps worse than that. So that's cool. I mentioned the picture that I threw up here, and that was from Reddit. I was looking on Reddit after Rebecca got this email about it, and we were trying to decide what to do, and like, could we park somewhere else? But then the fact is that, like, okay, but can you get home? It's like, yeah, we could park somewhere else, and we could walk her there, and it'd be like maybe a half an hour like walk, like one way, to just be able to, well, I guess the time that it's planned for would only interrupt the pickup, not interrupt the drop off. But yeah, that's what we're starting off with today, Saturday. I'm hoping that it doesn't happen, and I'm hoping it doesn't happen because police get involved and actually do their jobs. That might be a harsh statement, but I mean, there's laws, and they're the ones who are supposed to enforce them, and it seems, again, more hot takes. There's a lot of things and a lot of information going around, and obviously some of it is just conjecture, and some of it is just opinion, and some of it is fact. But I mean, there's just so many things that have happened in the past couple of years too, with enforcing protests that were peaceful, that were not interrupting the lives of everyone around them, but maybe pipeline protests that interrupted business or potential business based off of like broken treaties and stuff like that, where it's targeting, again, it's not anyone's, those people still get paid to show up and go to work and whatever, I don't know. A stat that I saw from the province today was that this convoy in Coutts is costing the province of Alberta $3 million a day. So there's that, and there's, again, we talked last vlog about just like the mayor of Coutts and the people of Coutts talking about, you know, access to emergency vehicles, hospitals. You know, people are having their lives incredibly interrupted, and the response has been from these organizers of the convoy, the freedom fighters, fighting for our freedoms while completely locking some of us down without access to our needs. That, well, all the province has to do, or all the country has to do, all Trudeau has to do is just reverse the mandates, and then we'll stop. It's on them. It's like, no, you are the one who you are physically impeding, you know, something. You are physically impeding emergency vehicles from having easy access to the place that they need to go to save lives. That is you. You have the power to move your vehicle. You are making a decision to say, I'm going to do this so that it's throwing a tantrum. And the other thing that I would compare it to is like, if I punched you in the face repeatedly and said, well, you know, I'm going to punch you in the face until the government gives me what I want. And it's you know, blame the government. Blame the government. You know, I'm saying that I'll stop. I'll stop as soon as the government does what I want them to do. Blame them. Like, it's not my fault. That's the stupidest argument that I've seen so many times of like, well, it's on them. It's on them. It will stop as soon as they give us what we want. Like, isn't the whole thing about non-compliance and don't comply to things? But you're wanting the government to comply because you're throwing a tantrum and screwing things up for the people? You are not hindering the government, those people making those decisions. You are incredibly not just inconveniencing, but putting your fellow man at risk. And not, I mean, we're talking about blue-collar people here as well. We're not talking about you interrupting the government. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and I'm just tired of it, and I try to stay away from heavy topics on here, and I've tried, like, I'm trying to, like, I haven't unsubscribed from some of the accounts that share links to news articles that, but I have not been following the article. I've just been like, I see a headline, and I'm like, ugh, it just gives me so much stress and anxiety. Anyway, they're planning, as part of their route to go downtown, I'm headed to the studio right now. So that was my plan for today. I'm going to keep that plan. I might get blocked in and not be able to get out. And one of the things that someone noticed is that on the picture of that route, they encircle the hospital. So, like, again, you are cutting off a majority of the city from the hospital. And thus, again, emergency vehicles, people trying to get to and from work. I'm sure that, you know, there's people that again, like, it's an inconvenience for us to not be able to get this child to an activity that they really, really enjoy and only get to do once every 2 weeks, and they get to learn and be educated and also have a lot of fun and socialize and, like, learn about things, whatever, and just, like, this thing that's incredibly great for them in every facet, but it's not like you get reimbursed that money either. It's not just an inconvenience. There's money lost there because the place hosting the activity isn't going to reimburse that money because it's not their fault that people can't get to and from there effectively. Some people still might try to go. This thing might not happen, and I'm hoping. But that's the thing I got off track on, was that, like, police doing their jobs. I don't think it is up to the responsibility of each and every officer. I mean, they have directives, and they have been told to do or not do certain things, and, like, obviously they could obey or disobey those things, because they do all the time, and step outside of the law in order to do what they feel like doing. And they could be doing that in this instance. They could decide, you know what, like, I'm gonna do the right thing here, but I understand why they wouldn't want to when you are all of a sudden a minority against people in a mob mentality. And mob mentality is really, honestly, they, like, give me a pit in my stomach, and they scare me because of the unpredictability and just the lack of critical thinking and just the idiocy and everything that goes there, which leads to danger. And so I understand why you wouldn't face a mob mentality of people that may or may not be carrying weapons and are much more aggressive and whatever, and now they're a majority against you. Whereas people that are practicing peaceful protest, you're okay with tear gassing in the face and then physically assaulting because they're a minority against you. And you bring out, you know, paramilitary weaponry and systems and tactics against them, but when the tables are turned here, it's like, okay, well, now we're a minority and now there's these other people. Okay, but you still have to uphold the law of the land. That is what I mean by doing your job. I don't mean on an individual officer basis, but on a policy basis of, like, oh, we're talking with organizers. Talking isn't working here, and you know, when you talk to organizers, again, peaceful protests and things like that, and having plans and routes that are given and permits and stuff, that's not happening here. It's not in correlation with municipalities that are allowing peaceful protests to happen, and again, incredibly not just disruptive, but dangerous, and breaking numerous laws, and those laws aren't being enforced on these people, and that is the thing. Why not them? And I've outlined some reasons, but there's other reasons too. And just think about it, and like when in the past couple years, you know, have peaceful protests and other things been completely shut down by police with uses of major force that they refuse to use here in Coots and maybe today in Lethbridge, and there's things that they could do. And here's the thing, we talk about police putting their lives on the line, but again, when you are facing a minority that is unarmed, and you bring out paramilitary stuff and you overwhelm them with physical violence, that's not putting your life on the line. That's abuse. But you're refusing to do it, or somebody is refusing to do that, where a policymaker, a chief of police, or whoever that is, in conjunction with maybe the mayor, whatever, you're refusing to put your life on the line to fight for this cause and this purpose. Which would be to put, like, saving lives, right? To providing a service to your community. So I am hoping that somebody steps up in the city of Lethbridge, and that the people that are making these decisions to how to direct the police force effectively are going to follow through with what they should be doing. And if they're not going to be doing that, then what they are doing, provincially with the government as well, is setting a precedent that you can come in here and you can just, Kickstarters can start up and they can pay you and they can fund your actions that are completely illegal, and we're just going to let it happen and you can do whatever you want to our city. That's the precedent you're setting if you let this happen. It happened in Coots already. It happened at the border already. They set that precedent saying, we're not going to do anything about it except talk to you and try to get you to stop. But what I haven't heard, again, if I'm misinformed and they've enacted some policies and used appropriate amounts of force in order to remove vehicles and everything else, if they've done that, then please let me know. But I haven't heard about that, and I don't have all the information in the world. I'm not over there witnessing it myself. I'm looking at some sources and relaying what I know, and I'm definitely open to seeing all the information. But this thing's supposed to start in like an hour. I'm getting to the studio right now, and well, good news. I was wrong, but all my catastrophizing about the trucker convoy. Put some pictures in here that I found while I was looking up kind of what happened. So I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear the honking from the studio. I was there during the time that they were doing their thing, and we're also downtown, but they didn't come by the studio because they were like 2 blocks over. And yeah, I guess, yeah, 2 blocks over. But apparently they actually stuck to one side of the road and left the other lane open. There was a car accident, but apparently things did not get out of hand. Unfortunately, just the threat of it alone, again, prevented, I'm sure, more people than us from doing certain activities because we didn't want to deal with the hazard, or the hazard, I guess, yeah, or the hassle of what could have been hours being in traffic, right? So I'm not sure all the details as to why it went smoothly. I'm happy it did. It definitely did not, you know, in other areas like Coots, right, or Ottawa, or in Edmonton. But for some reason it worked out here so that they did their thing, quote-unquote, respectfully. I don't know how you do that respectfully, but they at least didn't gum up the works so bad that I heard a lot of negative things. Yeah. So, again, my rant, it's funny because I used the word scary with someone the other day, and I was like, I guess it's not scary, it's concerning, and it's worrisome. I don't remember the other word I used, but scary wasn't exactly accurate. I mean, just, again, the threat of all those potential scenarios wasn't just me catastrophizing, but also just like things that had happened with that specific organization and affiliated group in other places that easily could have happened here, and for one reason or another, which I'm not sure yet why, it didn't happen here. So that was good. Still stupid, though, just to be clear. I've had to scrap a couple videos because of the wind, so I'm going to talk obnoxiously loud without yelling, or bordering on yelling, but it's Wren's last run here until surgery, which is tomorrow. I'm going to have to get up at about 5 in the morning, take her to Calgary, and yeah, then she'll have surgery on her elbow. This thing was called a platelet-rich plasma treatment, a stem cell thing where they take her platelets out or whatever. I don't know. They take her platelets out of her blood or something, and they inject it back into her joints. Just supposed to promote better healing after the surgery. So she'll get that done right after the surgery. But then she's got to stay there overnight, and that's tough. And then I'm just going to drive back to Lethbridge, and then go back out there the next day to get her. Anyway, just wanted to get Wren out here, one of her favorite places, and have her play with some dogs and run around and whatever else before she can't do that for a while.